Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hi, it's time again for this Bumble thing.
Yep.
That Bumble thinging. That's how we do. How you doing, Ian?
I am entertained.
Oh, really?
Because we're getting into warmer weather.
Oh, that
That means
sucks.
they start... I know. But it's not like the horrible warm weather. It's the still kind of cool in the evenings and rainy weather. I can deal with that.
Okay.
But the point is, they're selling all the early spring and summer stuff, which means bubbles are back. Simple solution with a bubble wand, which means the cats are entertained once more.
Oh, no.
The cats love bubbles.
Wow. I mean, so do people, to be fair.
Before we recorded this show, I sat there for 30 minutes blowing bubbles for cats, and it never got old.
It sounds like you like bubbles.
I do like bubbles, I'm not going to lie, but watching them watch the bubbles with absolute rapt intent is just delightful.
Bubbles are very enjoyable, to be fair.
It's even cuter when I stop for a minute to catch my breath because I'm kind of getting dizzy from blowing all these bubbles. And the cats look over and they actually ask for more. Like they make eye contact and go, "Meh?" And it's like, all right, here you go.
Fine. Now you need a bubble machine.
Well,
But then they would. Then they would probably like.
That might be a little much.
They'd probably freak out.
Yeah,
Too many bubbles.
Sticky soap solution all over my apartment, so I'm good with just a little bubble wand. Thanks.
Okay. What is this? The BumbleKast?
There you go. Welcome to the BumbleKast, where we answer all our questions from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Don't check those URLs. I don't know where they go. We don't endorse whatever's on them.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. Don't worry about it.
Dangerous.
Just know that warning exists, and it's your responsibility what you do with those URLs. Anyway, let's not waste any more time talking about bubbles, and let's talk about questions. We're starting off with a question from Alolan Figment. In recent years, Dragon Ball has made a point of giving its most popular characters unique endgame forms, fundamentally tied to each character with their own distinct visuals and mechanics. Ultra Instinct for Goku, Ultra Ego for Vegeta, Orange Piccolo, and Gohan Beast. What if you were asked by Sega to do the same thing for Tails, Knuckles, and Amy? How would you go about it? With the exception of Knuckles for obvious reasons, these forms cannot involve the Chaos Emeralds whatsoever. Much like Goku's Ultra Instinct, Super is staying as the Hedgehog's thing. And I guess Trip.
I mean, even Trip's kind of weird because she does the whole dragon transformation, so... But, I mean, Knuckles it's obviously got to be tied to the Master Emerald.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you called it like Master Knuckles, would that be problematic? Is that towing a line?
Maybe.
You have to run that by marketing.
Yeah, have to double check. It's probably okay, but...
Maybe go like full Little Witch Academia with Amy. Lean into the mystic hammers and cards and the occult imagery. Like the watered down, generally acceptable amongst the public occult. Fisher-Price level of occult. No actual like Baphomet skulls or anything, but
darn.
Tails, on the one hand, I'm tempted to just say let him go whole hog with the tech side of things. Let him be unique in that regard. He has the ultimate Miles mecha, but that isn't the same, is it? It's not the spiritual / physical manifestation of power like the other transformations. So I mean, it's not terribly original, but lean to the Kitsune angle.
I suppose.
Have him pop a few more tails.
Well,
give him some spirit fire stuff.
I'm being told by the chat to resurrect Titan Tails, you coward.
No. Absolutely not. You can't make me. I refuse.
Well, why are you like that?
I will not reinstate Titan Tales or his Giga Glutes. It's not going to happen.
Why not?
We saw what happened last time. That's why.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you're right.
Guy didn't have a chin. It was all neck. Ugh.
What did he need a chin for? What do you need a chin for? I don't know.
To take it on the chin.
I guess. Here's a question from Allison S. It's spring in the Northern Hemisphere, and that means birds are everywhere. For both of you, what kind of birds do you see near your home throughout the year?
The red-winged blackbirds are really making their comeback around here. And boy, howdy, can you hear them if you go on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't into full mating season yet, so they aren't aggressive yet. But I've been buzzed by a couple. I don't know what I did, but they came close to pecking me on the head, and it was unwelcome.
Ouch.
And the grebes are back. Oh, I love the grebes. They're a type of diving bird. They're a type of diving bird, and they have just the most delightful, psychotic, warbling, cackling call.
Mm-hmm.
Also, their babies are zebra striped, and they ride around on the parents' backs and just kind of poke up out of their wings to look around.
Yeah. Around here, we got pigeons. Just pigeons upon pigeons. Yeah, and also some guy who walks around making pigeon noises. like for real. Like, it's like, dude, come on. Every time you leave your house. It's like, come on.
Man for making pigeon noises.
I mean, every time. Even at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you gotta say hello. It'd be rude otherwise.
Well, they're asleep.
Well, you're just letting them know that it's you walking by and not like a cat or something.
It's literally...
Steve the pigeon's like, oh, what was that? Oh, it's just my neighbor. That's cool.
It's literally every time. But yes, a ton of pigeons, particularly specifically rock pigeons. Just normal ass, plain ass, boring ass pigeons. That's all we get around here, really, except for, I guess, the dove, which are usually mourning doves. You get a lot of those, and there's a ton of them, and also quail.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a lot of quail running around.
We also have, we've got, the pigeons as well. We've got cardinals and orioles and blue jays and robins and swans, Canada geese, of course, and a variety of ducks. There's like I think it's a wood duck. It's this very cool black and white thing with a almost sideways disc-shaped head. It's very cool looking.
Huh.
The wood ducks are the colorful ones.
Oh, they're colorful ones? Well, it's I don't know. There's weird ducks.
Quack.
And also normal ducks.
Yeah. The official state bird of Arizona is the cardinal, but we don't actually get that many cardinals. At least I don't see that many. I've seen a few here and there, but I don't see many of them. But...
Oh, and seagulls. My God, you can't escape the seagulls. They're here around.
Well, that's what happens when you have a giant body of water right there.
Yeah, I know.
Even though it's not a sea technically, but it is pretty much. Now I'm being told that I thought the Arizona state birds were snowbirds. Wop wop. Well, it's finally getting warm enough that they're leaving, so that's good. But yeah, you're right. Anyway, let's move on to this question here from Andrew D. So now that it's been a while, would you happen to know if Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is canon, and if it is, when it would take place?
It takes place around Amy's birthday, and everything is canon.
And then when is Amy's birthday? April 1st, obviously. So everything is canon, nothing is ruined. Wait, hold on. Here's one from OzJam. With many stories, there's usually a character who has to deal with abuse from someone from their family, and thus the focus is on the victim. However, there isn't usually focus on the abuser, and for good reason, obviously. But the one character that is MHA's Endeavor, the father and husband of the Todoroki family, and how he is portrayed throughout the story. To make it short, what do you think of stories that focus on the abuser in these types of stories, and how do you think Endeavor is handled in that aspect as far as you've watched? Or the alternative question, what do you think of Endeavor from MHA?
Keyword there, what I've watched. If there's more that's been revealed in the manga, I don't know. Don't spoil me. I don't want to know yet. I'm waiting on the anime. I can't speak to anything else because, number one, I haven't read a lot of material that immediately springs to mind that covers that topic. And two, I think the crux of the question is Endeavor and how he's utilized. And I think it's interesting because Endeavor is not presented as correct. And he's not necessarily presented as sympathetic, but the more you learn about him, you understand the culture that he came from and the mindset that drove him to make the mistakes that he did. And at no point, at least from what I've seen so far, is he forgiven for what he's done. It's not excused. It's not, oh, you were just a product of your time, or, oh, your heart was in the right place. No, it is acknowledged as being a problem.
Yeah.
And that he did bad things. And part of his personal arc is coming to realize that for all that he has done, all that he strove for, everything that he thought he was doing was right, that the ends would justify the means. It doesn't. Once he is put into a position of power that he thought he had, he realizes this is not what I thought it was. I have not obtained what I wanted, even though I have. There is more to it than this, and I was wrong. And he is trying to course correct. And he's not very good at it. And that, I feel like, is a good way of approaching it, because the character is deeply flawed. His actions do have consequences, but it's a family matter. And family matters, they get complicated.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's being treated in a respectful way for the characters. They each understand what he's trying to do, how he's trying to make things, if not right, then better. And each of the Todoroki family is accepting or unaccepting in their own ways and dealing with their own complex emotions about this situation with him, with each other, with the whole family dynamic. It's a tangled mess. And these are not the protagonists, by the way. This is side stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's been handled reasonably well. Like, he was an abuser. Nobody's arguing counter to the fact. And he, as a character, is coming to the realization of, oh, crap, I have to reap what I've sown. And again, there is no hand waving of it. There is no whitewashing of it. He done bad, and he's trying to do better. And there is that question of, do you allow them that opportunity, or should they, forever pay for the sins that they've committed? So it's interesting at the very least.
Well, that does sound kind of interesting. So, well, something to think about. Chaos Sonic 1 has a question. Sega makes you bring in Mutsuki. Now you have several choices. You have a normal-sized dog, the tiny animal dog in the Sonic Adventure series, or a Mobian. Your choice, Ian.
We already did the Mobian thing, and Sonic already has, young proteges. So maybe not that route. And while we have seen realistic dogs, I'm looking at you, Pele, it still feels weird to me to have Sonic interacting with real-ish animals. So we'll go with the little small animals. Maybe that, you got your Pockies and Rockies and Cluckies and whatnot. So now we have our Mutskis, spelled with a Y.
With a Y. Sure. We'll go with that.
I mean, we can't call them puppies. That's already a word.
Yeah, true. So it's Clucky, I guess. Cluck is, at least, It's adorable. It's adorable. Anyway, Cherry Hearts U has a question. You often put references to Sonic songs in your writing for the comics. I know some people find it a little silly, but they always give me a chuckle when I see them, especially the more subtle ones. Were there any you wanted to include but ultimately decided against, either because they were too on the nose or just didn't flow with the dialogue? Did you consider a reference to Let the Speed Mend It from Secret Rings for the Metal Virus arc?
Oh,
You missed
I wish
out.
I had.
No, you missed out. You didn't get it.
No. I need to call up Evan. Sorry, canceling your plans. I need to do Metal Virus 2.0 just to use that line. Yeah, I've come across an instance or two where it's like, oh, this would be funny, and I'm putting it in there, and it's like, it really isn't working. It is not worth the joke. Cut it out.
Wow.
And some of you are listening to this and going, really? Considering some of what you've done, other stuff was too on the nose, and I'm like, yes. That's how bad it was. That's why I edited it out before I even submitted it to the editor. I do know restraint sometimes.
Oh, man. Why?
And there have been one or two instances looking backwards, like, I really wanted to make the reference more than anything else. It could have been workshopped better. It could have not been in there and it would have been fine.
Yeah, but I'm glad it was.
I will still stand by Super Neo walking down the steps saying, show me what you're made of. That's fire. You can't tell me how it was.
Well, I mean, that's why would he say anything else? I don't know. He finally has the chance to speak. What's he going to do? Not speak the lyrics of his own theme song? Yeah, exactly. Comic the Hedgehog has a question. We know the Chaotix will do just about anything if it helps them pay the rent and save money. That being the case, and assuming neither has any real romantic interest in the other, would Vector and Espio marry each other solely for a tax break?
They'd look at the paperwork and consider it, but then, would Charmy become their dependent? Would they have to adopt him? If they ever had to break up the office, would that mean that they have to split all the assets of the company and go their separate ways? Nah, it's more complicated than it's worth.
Yeah. We are not cutting Charmy in half. No, we will not do that. Vector is head of household. That's right. No, we will not give Charmy amnesia either. We're not doing any of that again. None of that happened. It's not real anymore. Oh, man. Here's a question from Dawson the Dachshund. Sonic and Batman agreed to a sidekick swap, but after some bad paperwork, Batman got Tails while Sonic got Alfred. Can Tails keep up with upkeeping Wayne Manor, and can Alfred do a spin dash if required?
Yes and yes.
Yeah. I mean, Alfred's pretty badass.
I mean, Tails would have most of the Wayne Manor stuff automated by the end of the week, and are you kidding? He would be upgrading the Batcave.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have Alfred, who is donning the Sonic Man outfit.
Yes. Of course.
Keeping pace.
Alfred rules. I will hear no disparagement of the man. He can handle himself. He can be Alfred the Macaroni.
They completely demolish whatever Eggman's robot du jour is. It falls to pieces around them, and if Sonic dusts off his hands, all of a sudden Alfred's there with the chili dog. Lunch for you, sir.
Yes.
Thanks, Alfie. Appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah. Alfred knows what's up. He'll be thrown off for a little bit, but he'll get in the swing of things. He'll figure it out. Next question is from DDRMM. You were given the chance to bring back Sally, Nicole, Rotor, Antoine, and Bunny. But the twist, it's as a band called Nickelback. Do you take this deal? And is this how you remind me what the Freedom Fighters really are?
Listen to what they asked. Why they have to put it just like that?
Nickelback.
I think that might be just bad enough of a pun that I wouldn't do it out of dignity. For the other characters.
What, you? Not? Not do something undignified?
Not like these.
What? Why not?
Because I didn't come up with a pun, clearly.
Oh, that's why? Oh. I figured it was because you hate Sally.
Oh, yes, clearly, with a burning passion.
I mean, you said it, not me.
Uh-huh.
You're on record. I don't care. I don't.
Yeah, and you're on notice
For what?
for your sass, Krausman.
I've been on notice since day one. Nothing new.
Fair enough.
Oh man. I've been on notice since we began this thing, man. Jeez. Here's a question from Dewdrop. Scenario: Knuckles barges in on Sonic and Tails, infuriated that on one of his rare outings to the city, some kid said, "Look, Mommy, the Red Sonic from Team Sonic." He absolutely will not rest until they change the team name. Team Heroes float around, but Tails is apprehensive. At best, it's generic, and at worst, are they implying no one else counts as a hero? Amy overhears their argument and refuses to get involved outside of one ultimatum. If they don't decide on a name they're all happy with by the end of the day, they're all getting folded into Team Rose. How does it pan out?
Well, ultimately, they're joining Team Rose.
As they should.
Because Knuckles is going to keep suggesting ideas. Tails is going to overthink and over-workshop each and every one of them. And Sonic doesn't really care, but he can't stop himself from trolling Knuckles. They think they finally come down to a team name, and Sonic goes, all right, I'll vote for it. Only if Knuckles changes his name to Red Sonic. Absolutely not. And then they go at it again.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And then, they join Team Rose, and Tails is like, I don't know, none of us are really botanical, and Amy just looks at him.
Yep.
And he's done. That's the end of the argument.
No more. You shut up now. You shut up now, Tails. Quiet, you. Next question is from Double L. While it might seem like I'm asking you to put some plot spackle over something you've had no hand in creating, I'd rather hear your yes and answer to the following. You mentioned previously that you'd been informed that that SAT-AM robotization was more like an exoskeleton than a full-out flesh-to-metal conversion. Does that mean Bunny could stretch her limbs before she did the robot? Is she rubber? Did she eat the gum fruit or something?
I'm pretty sure that factoid came from Ben Hurst. I could be very wrong. And in SAT-AM specifically, I don't remember her arm extending, just the legs.
No,
am I misremembering? Did she?
I mean, it happens in the intro. I'm pretty sure in the intro to the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember her pulling the big old grate off the wall, but I don't remember her arm extending.
I thought her arm was extending in that scene, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. I mean,
it's been a while. But I guess, like, to apply the plot spackle, as you said, you can modify the exoskeleton. So I guess the extendo arm and extending legs are, like, grafted on top of the existing robotics. And whatever is inside the exoskeleton remains the same. So, if she goes up on those tall legs, the meaty bits of feet in there are just kind of dangling. If she's stretching out the robot arm, the meaty bits of arm are kind of just there at, I guess, like midway point.
Yeah.
It's kind of a horrifying mental image. I don't really like it, but hey, you brought it up. So,
yeah. How does it work? Don't worry about it. You should really just relax.
Don't relax too much. We'd be out of a show.
Nah, true. That's a good point. Never mind. E2 Paragon has a question. In various games, as well as Tails Tube, it's stated that the Master Emerald has the power to neutralize the Chaos Emeralds and render them inert. By this logic, that means that anything powered by the Master Emerald, such as Sonic 3 and Knuckles' Death Egg Robot or Super Mecha Sonic, is canonically able to bypass the Superform invulnerability, since the Master Emerald's power cancels out the Chaos Emerald's power. Likewise, this also means that the Master Emerald could, when commanded, single-handedly defeat any of the Superforms anywhere at any time. Thus, my question is this. Why is the Master Emerald the antithesis of the Chaos Emeralds when it uses the exact same energy as the Emeralds?
Does it, though?
We don't know. We know nothing about it, really. Very little.
That's ever been directly stated. And also, this is assuming that you can control that ability of it. Just because it can do a thing doesn't necessarily mean it does do a thing.
Yeah.
Like you can warp space and time with the Chaos Emeralds, but Sonic didn't do chaos control through the entire classic era.
Well,
That
that's
doesn't mean because you go super, you just warp through space time. It's the application.
that's just because he's stupid.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Obviously, I'm joking.
Are you? Are you, Kyle?
Well, I mean, he is pretty dumb. But
He's excitable, as all.
what do you want? What do you want from Sonic? He's not a smart man. He knows what he likes and he knows what works, and he's a simple man. I can relate to that. I'm not smart. Chili dogs are not brain food. Sonic has one brain cell and it says fast. It's true. It's true. Geo Knuckles has a question. In a Sonic Heroes crossover with My Hero Academia, which UA students would be the 4 teams?
2 Hero Academia questions this episode.
Yep.
Cue the joke about having 2 nickels. Let's see. Team Hero will go with Ida, Raraka, and Kirishima. That seems on point. Dark, Todoroki, Tokoyami, and Bakugo. I mean, that's no-brainer. Rose, say Ashido, Asui, and Koda. You know who Koda's supposed to be. You know. And Chaotix, Ojiro for the tail. I already did Asui, so I can't say her. Hagakure. Why not? And Mignetta.
Alrighty. If you're familiar with My Hero Academia, you might get those references.
Oh, you find that hilarious. I guarantee it.
I'm completely in the dark here. I'm so lost. I'm
being incredibly clever here with my references, Kyle. Trust me.
Good.
Stunning is my wit.
Thank you. I'm glad. What's anime? And we got one last question before we take a break from Happy Times. What was the planned fate for Xander Payne, aka Mr. X, when it came time to adapt Mega Man 6? Would Wily disguising himself as Mr. X be him usurping and replacing Xander? Or just Xander getting away while allowing Wily to take the blame for any of Mr. X's actions?
The grand plan was for Wily to take control.
Yeah.
That he would take over the X Syndicate and that would provide the funding and resources for everything he did post 6. As for Xander himself, I was toying with the idea that because of the weird timey-wimey displacement that he had been subjected to, he would just like dissolve into the time stream and just be gone, because I was kind of tired of Xander. But, you know, had we gotten to that point, maybe he would have gotten away, maybe he would have vanished into the time stream, and I don't know, maybe he winds up on the moon next to Volnut. But he was supposed to lose power by X6 and just be out of the picture.
That would have been great. We really didn't need him, to be honest with you.
He was made with the best intentions.
Yes, but he was unnecessary, ultimately. No need to keep him around. Get rid of him. Speaking of getting rid of things, we're getting rid of this segment of the BumbleKast, but we'll be back with more, so stick around.
We're back, and we're starting off with the weekly giveaway. Folks who follow us on our Twitter, Tumblr, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Facebook accounts every so often get a chance to get their question answered on the show. This week's winner is
an internet rando from Tumblr. We've heard who's smarter. We've heard who would win in a fight. But how about a poker game? Breezy versus Mogul versus Clutch. Texas Hold'em. Who wins? Who gets caught cheating? Because, come on. And who, as the 4th player from across the various Sonic continuities, would completely clean them out?
I think Clutch would be the first to overtly cheat.
Yeah.
I think Mogul has too much pride. He's too smart for them. He's an expert poker player. He invented poker, don't you know? And, he's out of chips. Breezy's got way better poker face, so she's ultimately mostly gaming against Mogul and Clutch, but she's also arrogant. She will eventually let her guard down.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Wes Weasley's walking away with a whole pot, boyo.
Weasley, he's back, baby.
I put it all on the line and walked away with a gold mine. Hey.
Here comes Wes Weasley with the steel chair.
And it can be yours for a simple $9.95. Oh, wait. Y'all out of chips.
It's a little Yogi Berry for that voice.
A little bit.
A little bit. Maybe a tiny bit of Johnny Bravo in there, too, but not quite.
Not quite. It's a bad impression all three directions.
Yeah, well, I mean, the original was not a good impression either of...
Oh, calm now. Wes was like the best part of that show.
Well, yeah, but it still wasn't a good impression of whatever he's supposed to be sounded like. No, he's supposed to sound like somebody, but I forget who, if exactly. If there was an exact one. Phil Silvers? Okay, that's what I'm being told. All right. Well... On that swerve, let's continue on. Here's a question from Hearts13. Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter films, is British Sonic from Fleetway. Alex Brightman, who played Beetlejuice in a musical and a few cartoon characters as the psychotic, quote, Fleetway Supersonic, unquote. And Tom Kenny as Snively Robotnik. If Tom can be Starscream, he had a more sinister version of the Ice King's voice, then Tom Kenny can do this character. Would it work?
Sure, I guess.
And I don't see why not necessarily.
I'm not super familiar with any of these actors, but I mean, if that's what you like, then I'm not going to argue against it.
Malfoy is the voice of Sonic is a little funny, though. But
I wouldn't want to typecast the poor man.
But, you know, it worked. It can work. I mean, you feel like he would be Shadow, but now that's really typecasting him.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Werehog returns, and this time it's permanent. But oh no, Tangle and Whisper start to crush on it and decide to enter a poly ship with it. What happens now? With it? Listen, Werehog, Sonic the Werehog is a person. Come on. He's not an it.
What happens is whatever your heart desires in your fanfic.
Yes. Here's one from John B. I remember when solicitations for the unreleased Sonic Universe 96 came out and learned that it was a Bunny and Blaze team-up issue. It was a team-up I never knew I wanted, and I was bummed that it never materialized. You and me both, buddy. Well, I know you were not disclosing details on those unreleased issues. I was wondering if you could explain how those two powerhouses would interact in a general sense.
In general, Blaze was still very, uptight at this point. She hadn't mellowed out as much as she has in the present day. And Bunny is much more casual and wholesome and supporting. So you have that kind of fun, odd couple dynamic there. But Bunny would also have been presented with personal challenges that would kind of take her out of her regular bubbly self-confidence, and Blaze, being the rock that she is, like she has been to Silver, would be that stoic support that Bunny needed to find her footing again and resume how she normally was. So they would complement each other and support each other and be incredibly wholesome and completely badass. And we were robbed, man. Good.
We were absolutely, dude. That sounds like the best team up in the universe. We missed out.
Of that universe arc would have been like starting off subplots for each of the Freedom Fighters. And while I wanted to tell each of them, the Bunny and Blaze one was the one I was most excited for. Let's be honest.
Oh, yes. Why? Why couldn't it have at least, waited? Just at least wait for another, I don't know, give it another year. Give it one more year. Oh, well. Here's one from Mr. Wes Soda 123. Wes Weasley from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog magically wakes up in the IDW universe right after the Metal Virus arc. What types of items does he try to sell Robotnik/Eggman? And how does he react realizing money doesn't exist in this world?
Are we saying right after the plague started and he's trying to capitalize on the chaos? Or the plague is over and Eggman's rebuilding? Because both are funny.
Yeah.
Like, imagining him looting places and trying to sell Eggman whatever junk is around because society has collapsed and you're never going to get another toaster like this because nobody's building them.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Or it's all over and Eggman has to start from scratch, in which case, does he have a deal for you?
Yeah.
He's sure this vial has maybe some remnants of your goo experiment. You can buy it off him for, what do you do here? Mobiums, rubies, drachmas. Come on, throw me a line here.
Oh, man. Now we know why the Chaotix are always broke. Oh, man. Why not both, to be honest with you? Why not both, indeed? Mexiger17 has a question. Surge and Sonic draw in a, quote, friendly, unquote, bet that they both made with each other. So now for one day, Sonic has to dress and act like Eggman, and Surge has to dress and act like Starline. If the rule of funny isn't enough for you two to ignore how that's pretty messed up for Surge, feel free to switch the two around. Besides clothes, dressing up includes a bald cap, a fat suit, a fake mustache, a fake bill, styling quills into Starline's hair, and glasses. Acting includes their best impressions, but they don't have to act for Surge anyway. Completely evil. Unless you think both snapping and doing a one-day takeover of the restoration sounds too funny to pass up. No, they can't say they're acting like Starline by not showing up because he's dead. How does that dumpster fire of a day go for every poor soul involved?
This is oddly specific.
It's a fan idea. You were never going to use it, but it's technically a fan idea.
It's safe. It's certainly safe.
Really?
I can't imagine either of them fully committing to the bit legitimately.
It would... No.
Like, Surge raiding Starline's wardrobe, finding that it actually kind of fits, and, she rocks it better than he ever did.
I guess.
And just, like, making fun of him posthumously. Absolutely. I can see you're taking that bet. No problem.
Yeah.
But putting on the fake bill, I'm just imagining like Daffy Duck for some reason.
Yeah. That's the part where it like doesn't quite work. And it's like, oh no.
Oh, I'm such a fuck up. He didn't talk like that. How would you know? We fought one time.
He's such a what?
A fuck up. What, are you implying I have a speech impediment?
I'm implying that I can't tell if that's an S or an F.
Well, fuck to be you then.
Oh, man. He's such a what? Yes, that's what I'm like. What? Hold on. Never let Daffy say suck.
And Sonic, like, I can see him in an Eggman outfit that's actually fitted, and that looks kind of badass.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go like a proportional fat suit and novelty glasses and mustache, this is a Boom episode.
Yes, it is.
And okay, in that regard, that makes more sense. If we've got like Boom Surge, who's just like some punk on the island who arbitrarily hates Sonic and used to work for that weird Eggman fanboy who lives on the next island over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is making a lot more sense if we put it in the Boom context.
Yes.
In which case, they go whole hog into their roles and they get a little too into character and actually do take over the island. And by the end of the day, are kind of like, perhaps we've gone too far.
Surge would think that she's gone too far. Mm.
Well, I mean, she's going to conquer the island. It's going to be on her own terms, not as that guy.
Not as that duck.
And then, breakfast the next morning, Knuckles runs in and sucker punches Sonic. Ha ha! I saved the island. No, Knuckles, that was yesterday. We're done with that. Oh, I wanted to save the island.
It's true. It's true. All right. Normal person has a question. Hello, Mr. Flynn. I recently learned that the Acorn Kingdom has their own gulag in Archie Sonic. So, does Blaze and her Soul Empire also have their own gulag?
Gulag is such a harsh term.
I feel like it's a requirement if you're a kingdom or an empire.
I'm sure they have some kind of correctional facility for the dissidents within their world.
Yes.
I don't know how comfortable I am with the idea of Blaze having a political dungeon. I mean, she handles things directly.
It's not a political dungeon. Also, apparently some people don't know what a gulag is. It's a political dungeon. It's the place where you send your enemies. I don't know. Anyway, here's a question from Hero Squad. I don't know why Hero Squad's question is here and when H was a lot earlier in the alphabet, but you know what? We'll roll with it. Pepsi Man Frontiers. How humorously does it go?
You run around collecting Pepsi icons for every character.
Yes. Drink
run
Pepsi.
up to their digital forms and throw the Pepsis at them. They try to have their emotional, cathartic story beat, and he just kind of nods along and runs away mid-sentence. Gets all the Chaos Emeralds, goes flying at Giganto. The music kicks in. It's all cool. And Giganto just punches him out of frame. The boss fight ends again.
Pepsi Man.
You have to run around recollecting the Chaos Emeralds. You never get off the first island. It's just Giganto fight, punch. Giganto fight, punch. Giganto fight, punch.
Come on. Pepsi Man was better than that.
Was he?
Yes.
Was he?
Yes.
Was he?
Yes. Yeah, and all the Titans are red with little bits of white on them. Everything. All the enemies and everything's a little bit of a little bit of red in there. Because you know who Pepsi Man's worst enemy is.
You go around unlocking the Dr. Pepper logs.
No, it's the Pepsi for TV game guy. It's the guy in the cutscenes. That's what you unlock. Those are the things you unlock, Ian. Not Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
No.
I want the Dr. Pepper logs where he talks about his new daughter, Sprite.
No, the TV game guy. Pepsi for
Only
TV
a genius could create a little girl made out of lemon and lime.
Okay. Either way, whichever. Oh man, Starfall Pepsi Man. Oh man, the running around to like Frontiers style remixes of the Pepsi Man theme. I'm into it. I'm ready. Give me Pepsi Man Frontiers. Good old cyberspace Pepsi Man. Ow. I want it. I want it for real. Why do I want it? Oh, man. Pickly Pack has a question. It's been stated by Naoto Oshima that Sonic does not have parents. Does this mean that Sonic does not currently nor ever will have established main universe parents? Or does it mean that he quite literally doesn't have any? Like he just popped into existence one day?
I'm assuming the former, but I don't feel like it's good for me to speculate. I'm going to slowly and cautiously back away from this one without making eye contact.
He's a clone. Rabbit Haver has a question. Who do you think is the most annoying member of the cast to take care of when they're sick? Who complains the most? Who wants dozens of forehead kisses? Who asks for chicken noodle soup at 3 a.m.? Would specifically love to know how you imagine the hedgehogs are when they've got the flu or something.
Kind of feels like it would depend on the circumstances. Like, if Rouge got sick and she's like on her own, she's just going to tough it out. Get some Theraflu, take a day off. But if she can con Shadow and Omega into helping her,
Yeah.
she's going to play it up. She is going to take complete advantage of this weird buddy relationship that they have. Charmy, I think, would be legit sick, and SBO and Vector would be falling over each other trying to take care of him. And Charmy just never would let them realize that he got better.
Yeah. That would be it.
Meanwhile, Vector's sick, but he refuses to go to the hospital. Do you know how much that costs?
Wow, healthcare's just as bad in their world as it is in ours, huh?
No, it's actually, free for everybody, but he still doesn't want to go there. And
because time is money.
exactly. And SBO is, a tough ninja. Ninjas don't get sick. What are you talking about? Whatever this malady is, he'll power through it because he's had the proper training and he'll be fine.
Yep.
Sonic, he'll sleep it off. He'll run it off. Like, he'll kind of feel ooky for a day and then be like, that was weird.
Yeah.
Shadow's the ultimate life form. He doesn't get sick. He can't get sick.
Yeah, but if he did, he'd pretend he wasn't.
It must be the ultimate flu. A super flu.
No, he'd pretend he wasn't sick. He'd be like, I'm fine. Leave me alone.
I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Coughs are under control. And Silver is kind of confused because the future was so depopulated they didn't have disease anymore. There's no way for it to spread. What is this flu you're talking about? Isn't that the past? It's a fly?
Yeah.
So he gets sick and he's like, oh, this is awesome. I've never felt like this before. It goes away, right?
Silver doesn't have an immune system. Oh, no. Wouldn't Silver be like instantly dead if there were all the germs exposure immediately as soon as he came back? I guess this is why we don't do time travel.
That or he pulls a cable and he just uses his TK powers to keep the infection in check. Grossest weird arm in the world.
He said pull a cable, and I'm like, wait a minute, why is Silver on a cable? And I realized you mean Cable, the X-Men mutant character.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other silver-haired time traveler tried to stop dystopia.
Yeah, I was like, what is Silver plugged into? Silver going around spreading time flus?
No, he's fiber optic. What are you talking about? He's the future.
Oh, man. He's from the future. I can say that word, I swear. Silver really flew into that one. Any more?
Dreams of an absolution?
No, I just meant any characters.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Nah. We'll move on. Scurvy Pirate Hog has a question. If I had a nickel for every time a man called Jim has portrayed Eggman or Robotnik, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. So with that in mind, what if the Jim Carrey Robotnik and the Jim Cummings Sad AM Robotnik swap places?
Snively's going to get more physically abused if that's even possible.
I feel like the Sad AM Robotnik would be more threatening and have more of a presence, but be less effective. I don't know.
I don't feel like either would be particularly effective. Like
No.
Jim Botnick
True.
would play too much, and that would probably be the day that the Freedom Fighters rally and managed to take back Robotropolis. And Sad AM Robotnik, I think he would feel restricted by the lack of arsenal. Like, what does he have at his disposal? A truck full of drones?
Yeah, true.
Where's his legion of SWAT bots? Where's his roboticizer? Where's his legion of robot slaves? All he has is a truck full of drones? He'd probably get too hung up on trying to reclaim territory and rebuild his base than focus on Sonic.
Maybe. That I guess that would make some sort of sense. And he'd also find his green hills just kind of quaint and not worth worrying about, probably. He's got to go for the big city, you know? Here's a question from Spoiler1001. We've talked about purring and tail wagging, but how would Amy and the Hedgehog boys react to being caught hissing?
Amy's a little embarrassed. That's how you know Sonic is actually pissed.
Yeah.
That's kind of every other word out of Shadow. That's his low-key cursing. And Silver's just happy that it's, a thing. It's a hedgehog thing. He just he's not weird. He always thought he was weird because he did it, but they do it too. So he's vindicated.
Or maybe they're all weird. Anyway, Switchel has a question. For those unaware, ASMR is video or audio that you listen to with the intent to relax, usually. This includes, but it's not limited to, relaxing sounds like white noise, waterfalls, etc., guided meditations, and hypnotherapy. With that last one specifically in mind, my question is, was Starline an ASMR streamer in college, and where can I listen to his files?
Oh, he absolutely was. And he was eventually taken off the air by the school board for trying to hypnotize everyone to serve Eggman. That's all his ASMR was hypno suggestion to follow the Eggman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
It took like a whole semester for him to get caught, though, because nobody actually listened to the show.
Yeah. No one checked. Yeah. And a question from the Oddly Roger. Hey, Ian, what's your process when it comes to world building? Does it vary project by project? And how does it differ from working on an established franchise versus a brand new IP?
Oh, yeah. Way, way different between project to project and established and brand new. Like with Sonic specifically, when I came into the Archie comic, the world building had been done for a large degree.
Yeah.
Like that was reading up on what was there, understanding it, interpreting it, and then extrapolating upon it. If this is like this, then what does that mean at a broader context? If this doesn't seem to make sense, how do you rectify that within the rules of that universe? And as Sega introduced more and more concepts of the games, how do you reconcile those with what the comic had established? And, moving forward with the modern stuff, it's like, okay, what have the games established, and how do we extrapolate upon that? With something like Dragoon, where it's all me, you kind of get lost in the woods, to be perfectly honest. Basically with that, I look at what the core story is. What is the central narrative? Who are the characters? What are they trying to achieve? And with that in mind, what facilitates that? What about the world around them helps or hinders that progress?
Mm-hmm.
If wind is facing adversity, why? What is it environmentally? What is it socially? What is it personally? What is it economically that is getting in her way? And why is it like that? And just build upon the systems from there. Pull every thread. Follow all the leads, and step back every now and again to say, okay, if I've established X, Y, and Z, how do they apply to each other, and how do they apply to this other new idea I had? Oh, wait, that doesn't make sense. Time to revise, and go from there. It's a very, very large document file.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I guess another example, without pulling back the curtain too far, is with the Aether Studios stuff. Rivals of Aether set up the foundational ideas, and then we moved on to Dungeons of Aether, and that introduced a new location and new characters and new levels of technology. And the other projects that are in production and other aspirations we have, those also have elements to them. And it's like, okay, what are these regions? What are the people like there? This character intro here and this stage here convey such and such. What does that actually mean for the greater world? And just build from there.
That makes sense. All right, let's move on to the next question here from Twilord. Any thoughts on how Shadow and Black Doom reenact the myth of Mephistopheles, tempting a scholar with cursed knowledge and power, the booby-trapped Eclipse Cannon, and Doom's own blood. But the demon's namesake Mephiles botches it on 2 non-scholars, so has to stab Sonic himself.
I haven't gone quite. I'm just trying to figure out what is being asked here.
Any thoughts on this?
I've read the question. I've read the question multiple times. I feel like there's 2 thoughts here, and maybe it's because I'm not particularly familiar with the myth itself, but I'm not seeing what the through line is. I feel like I'm being set up for a joke and I'm missing it.
I think that makes it funnier. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I don't know. What I do know is we got one last question. It's from Sonic Swordfighter. Discussion on the Discord chat got me thinking, so I'd like to make a song request. Could you sing Stronger Than You from Steven Universe in a Mephiles impression?
I wish I could, but I tried this a bit off mic and it is not happening.
Oh,
I can't do it regularly.
You can't
My lips are not limber enough. I cannot get through some of the lyrics properly, and trying to do a bad Dan Green impression on top of that, I am physically unable. It is Stronger Than Me.
Oh,
I am very sorry. It's a fun song. It's a fun idea, but I am incapable of performing.
Well, we might have to refund that one then, Ian.
We will.
Yes. Yep.
Well, on that double whammy of disappointment, we might as well just drag this thing out behind the shed and finish it off. Thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members for submitting all the questions and being patient with us as we completely disappoint you. This is Ian Flynn, the Bumbling King, signing off. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will disappoint you again with another BumbleKast.
The disappointment never ends. That's one way to end the show, I suppose.
It's different, at least.
I mean, sure. And then they're gonna spend more money for more disappointment. In recent years, we're gonna. Sorry, wow, I freaking
completely threw you off with the bubble talk.
Yeah, you did. You got me. Let's see. Bingus. Bingus is a cool puppy. He's got a big nose. I can relate.
You don't have a big nose. What are you talking about?
Have you seen my face?
Okay, so it's been a while, but
my face is pretty nosy.
All right.
It's pretty nosy. It's not like, super duper nosy, but it's pretty nosy.
I'll take your word for it.
I got stuck on City of Heroes again.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
Did you pick up an old account or are you starting fresh?
No, I mean, I have to start fresh. I can't go back to my original account from the live servers. That's gone forever. So, I it's my account that I've had since the game came back, since the servers came back, but it's all new. Everything's new, but I've got 3 of the 6 or 7 characters that I had at max level back up to max level again. So,
oh wow,
I don't really need alt accounts because you can have 1,000 characters on each server on each account, so it's not really it's not like you need, unless you plan on dual boxing,
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, if you plan on dual boxing or multi boxing, whichever. But yeah, no. I'm not gonna make 1,000 characters though. I don't have 1,000 characters to make. No, max level is 50. Also, 3 levels is 10 minutes these days. And also, I don't tend to make a whole heck of a lot of characters, so I just stick with the ones I like and the ones I know. I make some new ones. But yeah, I got back into that a bit. There was a big event going on for 10 times the normal XP, so that was a good way to get many people back to 50, which is the max.
Clever, clever.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
I actually sat down and played a bit of Star Rail today, and one of the features of the game is something of a randomized dungeon to a degree, and you get random perks along the way. You have some control over it, but not a ton. And they introduced a new one. New maps, new enemies. It's like, okay, I'll start on the lowest level here, earn my easy rewards, proceed. And I get to the new boss of this current version.
Uh-oh.
In its second phase, it decides to just remove 2 of your party members.
Cool. You didn't
can't
need
guard
those.
against it.
You didn't need
You can't
those.
guard against it. Can't guard against it. Can't prevent it really reasonably.
Okay.
You can get them back if you're fast enough, but if you're not, then within a certain number of turns, he just takes the other 2 party members and you instantly lose.
Wow.
Doesn't matter what your health is at. Doesn't matter how well you're doing. Doesn't matter if it's virtually dead. If he gets you, he gets you. And it's like, okay, fuck you. Uh-huh.
You didn't need those, did you? Yoink.
I mean, I got him eventually.
Yeah.
But
Rude.
It's trifle consternation. I'm getting through this dungeon on autopilot for most of it. And then I look up and it's like, oh, wait, I died?
Yeah.
All right, I'll pay attention this time. Oh, no. Okay. Well, I'll try a little differently this time. Make me actually play the damn game.
Rude. Play the game.
I mean, honestly, I'm only playing it really to kind of scratch that grind itch. I'm not terribly invested in it, but
Yeah.
it's good enough to kind of, tickle the gotcha sensor without making me want to go whole hog on it. So it's like, all right, I expected much from you. So you don't have to give me much. It's a fair exchange.
Sure. Good old honky Star Rail.
Story's also obnoxious because I really don't care about most of the narrative. I don't find it particularly engaging.
Yeah.
But then they'll throw a curveball or two, or they'll reveal something about the greater cosmology, and it's like, oh yeah, you've been hiding the good stuff in the back. Put that on the table.
Where can I get some of that plot?
And 2.0 came out, 6 months ago? I don't remember. A bit ago. And Aaliyah made a particular prediction about a character, not with any real thought behind it, just kind of like, I wonder if this will be a reveal. And I'm like, I don't see how that would line up. And she's like, I didn't put too much thought behind it. And then 2.1 comes out and she was right.
Of course she
And
was.
we're both sitting there going, wait, how does that make sense? How were you right?
Yeah.
I'm avoiding spoilers because I don't know who in chat is actually playing or cares.
I don't think most people care, but
Better to be considerate.
Yeah. Little honky Star Rail.
Also got to what I'm assuming is the final boss of Unicorn Overlord. And my squads had been just steamrolling everything. Had to put a little bit of thought into it. And if those squads were occupied, I was kind of screwed. But they were doing fine. I can handle just about anything. And then I get to that last boss after an hour campaign, and I can't beat him.
Yep.
I cannot deal enough damage per turn to make any noticeable difference, so I have to start from scratch. I'm actually going to have to look at loadouts and equipment and tactics and use the gray matter.
Oh man.
They're also doing the next patch or install thing presentation for Genshin tomorrow, and it's like,
Yeah.
give me dormant port, give me dormant port. You've been like drip feeding this since 1.0. Give me dormant freaking port. I may not even like it. I don't even know what's supposed to be there. It's just, it's this chunk of map that hasn't been filled in for ages. And then they introduce the neighboring region. So now there's this just big void between the two regions of map you can explore. And it's like, it's there. Just give it to me. Give it to me. Last patch, they added in the neighboring region to that. So now it's an even smaller void, but it's there. And it's like, don't show me those stupid, nearly featureless polygonal mountains that mean nothing. I know there's actual map. Give it to me. Let me run and find the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently Genshin's new region is just America.
What?
I don't know what that means.
It's steampunk France.
Oh.
I don't know where you're getting America from.
Oh. What
Steampunk,
region?
It's steampunk France with a sprinkling of Spain and Italy.
Unless they're talking about the one that's not out yet or something. Or an old one.
Well, the starter region is basically not Germany.
Yeah.
And then you go south to not China. And then you hop across the ocean to not Japan.
Of course.
You come back for not Persia with a little bit of not Egypt.
Yeah.
And then you go north to not France. And then next up is not South America with a sprinkling of not Africa.
Okay.
And then the end game looks to be not Russia.
Oh, so you're not going to not Detroit?
I don't know. Maybe there's a rundown section. Not France, full of destroyed machines in an industry that's been forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not Detroit. Don't become human.
Anyway.
Okay, it's Star Rail that is the new region is America, not Genshin.
I guess maybe like 1920s flapper era America.
Yeah.
With a healthy lampoon of Mickey Mouse.
Well, I mean, that's pretty American right there.
Yeah. It's a little cartoon. Like, he's stylistically a cartoon compared to the more anime influenced stuff.
Yeah.
Named Clocky. And he sounds like this. TikTok. Golly, we gotta help those people with their emotions, TikTok.
Yeah. Genshin Impact now in not Florida.